Yeah, of course. Why not? I mean, I believe the same way that there are states that are in their identity are Arab and Muslim states, right? They're majority Arab, majority Muslim. That's like the identity that is in the culture of the state and the flag, the anthem, and so forth, state religion, whatever. Then you can have one Jewish state, one state that represents the Jewish people. I think, though, the Arab and Muslim world doesn't accept this concept. They're very much against it, even if they sign agreements, right? So Egypt signed a peace agreement with Israel, but, you know, I made my video from Egypt, and everyone there says we'll never recognize, I mean, not everyone, I mean, depends, but a lot of the comments in my video will never recognize Israel, free Palestine, you're a fake country, you're not welcome, no, 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 no. Like, these are not responses of people who accept Israel's existence or accept me as a citizen of a legitimate country, even if, you know, you might not like the government or the conflict or whatever, you know? I mean, I was in Sinai in Egypt just a couple months after, or a month, less than a year after Russia attacked Ukraine. And there's a bunch of Russians who go to Sinai, and all the Egyptians were like, oh, Russia, good country, come. No, no, no. They didn't have a problem inviting the Russians and you know, whatever. And if a Russian vlogger had done the same vlog I'd done, they would all be, oh, you're wonderful, no, no, no. So I'm saying that they don't, a lot of people in the Arab Muslim world, they don't accept the existence of Israel. They still hope one day Israel can be somehow removed from the region. And that has to change. And then each person can live in their state. That's fine. The Palestinians can have their own state. They can have their own flag, their own anthem, their own whatever. And we have ours. And then we can live peacefully next to each other. It's not that complicated. Right? Wow. Yeah, that building took a serious hit. Yeah, they went down into the shelter at the bottom of the building, the miklat, and that's what saved them, because this building was really, really badly damaged. Like, if someone had, if a rocket like that hit this building here where I am and I was in the staircase, I'd probably get killed from that strike, because it looks like it did a lot of damage. But luckily they had a good shelter there, so it saved them. That's crazy. Yeah, well, first of all, you can just get to know people, right? Like I tried to do when I went to Egypt. You meet people, you visit, whatever, you create relations. And we should all advocate for accepting each other in the region. I mean, there are also Israelis who don't, you know, who are, some of the guys in the West Bank, the extremist Jews, are attacking Palestinians, farmers and things like that. That's also very bad. So we all have to recognize each other's existence. But the thing, of course, is that Israel is the big minority in the region, right? So there's far more people in the Middle East who hate Israel and don't accept Israel and so forth than there are Jews in Israel who, certainly they all accept the fact that the Arab countries around us are there to stay. I mean, we're the minority, like nobody, maybe with the Palestinians, because there's some people have the religious attachment to the land there, then some people might be like ideologically against that, like the far right in Israel, whatever. But I would say like the bulk of it is from the Arab and Muslim world, that they have an ideology concerning Israel that the Jews shouldn't be a nation with a state, right? They can be a minority and live among Muslims as a minority like they used to in the Ottoman Empire, in whatever, in Andalusia, whatever, but not have their own state. That's kind of like the ideology in the Arab Muslim world. The famous, I'm not against Jews, I'm just against Zionists, which I've heard a gazillion times. So yeah, like that needs to change. You can't say I'm not against Jews. I'm not against Palestinians as long as they never have a state and they remain a dispersed minority across the globe from now until forever, even if they're persecuted. I don't think if I said that, anybody would accept that as a viable, justifiable like position to have. You know, so same the other way around. To say I don't have a problem with Jews, I'm just against Jews being in their own state, I don't accept that argument. And that's the standard argument that they say. They always say that in the comments to my videos, online, on Twitter. They're always, oh, we're good with Jews, but Zionism, Israel. What is Zionism? It's just a state that represents the Jews, where the Jews are the demographic majority, where their culture, language, religion is represented in the state. Which, of course, is the exact thing that you have in the surrounding Arab states and Muslim states, just with a different identity, yeah? So, if there is some pushback in as far as the discussion in those places, I think that would be a start. Meaning, if there was possible for people, the problem is it's hard to do it because we're talking about societies that don't necessarily have that freedom of speech. Like if you're from Egypt, maybe you know Dalia Ziada. Have you heard of her? She's an Egyptian who worked like in a think tank, research or whatever. After October 7th, she said, oh, that was bad and wrong what Hamas did to go into Israel and try to annihilate the people there. And that this organization say they want to destroy Israel. We should support Israel against Hamas. And then she was hounded out of the country. So you don't have the discourse to begin to change things from that side. At least in Israel, we have free speech, like we have open discourse. So, maybe not all the discourse is a discourse that I agree with, but at least the conversation is there. We're having the conversations. I feel like in the Arab world, there's some conversations you're not allowed to have openly, or it's very hard. Like it's very hard for an Egyptian person to come out and say, I support Israel versus Hamas. Imagine someone saying that. He's going to be like ostracized. It's a problem. All the time. I mean, yeah, like kind of. Like the thing they do in the Arab world a lot of time is like, oh, we don't support Hamas, but still when Hamas attacks Israel, they're happy and they side with Hamas, So it's kind of like, I don't know. There needs to be more open dialogue inside the Arab world on these subjects. I know it's happening in places like Clubhouse, which is an app where people talk. It's happening maybe on Twitter and this, but it's kind of like it starts with free speech where the ideas can be aired and discussed properly. And I'm not sure there's enough of that. So I think like people are scared and I understand why. I would be scared, It's like a guy in Gaza that I knew. When I was working in the news, I had a contact in Gaza and we used to talk and whatever. And he started Skype conversations between Gazans and Israelis, like Gazan students and Israelis. And, eventually Hamas found out. They imprisoned him and a bunch of other people. They tortured him a little bit. They let him go afterwards. Now he's exiled. He's not living in Gaza. And that's a problem, So here was someone who he wasn't a traitor. He wasn't passing military information onto Mossad or something like that. He was just talking to Israelis about whatever, peace and stuff. And he got arrested, So like he wasn't able to start the discourse even in Gaza about a different way. So what are you going to do with that? And he's a very brave guy. He believed in something and he went for it, and he's a proud Palestinian. He's not like a big supporter of Israel and Netanyahu or something like that, but he just wanted to talk to Israelis and to try to reach common ground and go for negotiation and not what Hamas is doing. And he couldn't do that inside Gaza. And there's a lot of people like that. There was a series that on the Israeli news where a reporter went to Europe and he met all these Gazan dissidents who are now living in Europe in exile. So they can't do it. They can't offer any way forward, And that's the problem. And it's not about being a huge Israel supporter. None of these guys who were interviewed are these big Israel lovers or supporters. But they understand that what Hamas is doing, which is to steal all the resources to attack Israel all the time, is a disaster for them. And they want to try to live next to Israel somehow. And I think it is possible to live next to Israel. And we see that the countries that made peace with Israel, like Egypt, like Jordan, like the Gulf states, whatever, Israel doesn't attack them, obviously. Why would it? So yeah, you say they feel deeply connected to the Palestinian cause, that's fine, but the problem is that the Palestinian cause right now is to destroy Israel pretty much. Like that's the main part of the cause, not to live peacefully next to Israel. So there's like an uncritical support of what the Palestinians do pretty much. Even when they, like what Hamas did in October 7th and rejecting all the deals that were put forward back in 2001 and 2008 and stuff, because they support the Palestinian cause as the Palestinians see it, which is the idea that all the land belongs to them. The Jews don't belong. The fake European Jews came and stole it from them, and they're going to get it back one day, right? That's their cause. It's not an idea that maybe the Jews have some type of reason to be here, historical and religious connection to the land, and we both have a right to live here in our own states. That's not the Palestinian position. So you're right that the Egyptians and others, they support the pure Palestinian cause, which is the end of Israel. So that's not going to get us forward.